Hello, person watching this video. This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another wonderful vid. What inspired this one really are comments I got in, on some of my videos about ideal album length. And I did some thinking about it, and I read up, read some articles about it online, that sort of stuff, trying to see if there's some sort of a, for lack of a better term, consensus around what an ideal album length is. Now, depends on how we look at this. Previous to the digital age, album lengths were limited due to the fact that, well, you can only fit so much music on an LP. In the we'll say the pre-compact disc era, most albums for them did not exceed about 45 minutes. I mean, that was pretty much what the limit was for most albums back then. It would be, 8 to 10 songs, whatever, and 45 minutes. That was pretty much the norm. Of course, there were exceptions to this, and I will be showing one off from that era that is definitely an exception, but for the most part, that's roughly what albums were, and that was due to technological limitation of the delivery format more than anything else. And a lot of people say, hey, that was the perfect length for an album, because artists could get in, construct a number of songs, get out without straining your attention too much. As far as my personal opinion on that, I don't 100% agree with that. Now, here's my take on it. There are countless examples of incredibly great albums that fit into that format. There are tons and tons of great albums that are somewhere between 35 to 45 minutes. Thousands and thousands of, not tens of thousands of albums that are great fit exactly in that format, right? I'll show off a couple, right? We got Slayer's Reign in Blood, which of course is infamous 30-minute thrash fest. Does this need to be longer than 30 minutes? No. Then on their next album, South of Heaven, it's about 36 minutes. Does this need to be longer? Would this, benefit from more length? No. Would Master of Puppets benefit from more length? No. Now this is pretty close to the upper limit of what you can fit on one LP. But would this benefit from more length? Absolutely not. Of course, this is longer. This is close to 50 minutes long. Now this one here, And Justice for All. This is a bit over an hour. And of course, with this one, we were getting into the digital realm here. The digital age was much more a thing in 1988 than it was on those other albums I was showing. This was, now, would this album benefit from editing to make it a bit shorter? That's debatable. I think it's a perfect length for what it is. I wouldn't change much about this album from the way it is. Maybe remix it a bit to make Jason's bass more audible, because everybody talks about that. But aside from that, what else would I change about this album? I can't really think of much of anything else I would change about this album. Got another one here. It's what was the length of this one? I think it's 53 minutes. Let's see. Am I right? Had these pulled up here. Appetite for Destruction. Yeah, okay. 53 minutes, right? Would this benefit from editing? Absolutely not. This is a perfect album of a perfect length. Now, we're going to get into the digital era here, right? Next one I'm showing off is 65 minutes. 65 minutes. Would this benefit from editing? Downward Spiral. No, I don't think it needs to be edited down. Now, Here is a double album from the vinyl era, right? Well, obviously this isn't a vinyl, but it's from the vinyl era, and this is of course one of the most famous double albums of all time. Does this need to be cut down, trimmed down? Would it be better if there was less material on this? No. And lastly, we're going to show this double album off. This is Nine Inch Nails, The Fragile. It's 105 minutes, so it's a really long double album. Now, would this one benefit from editing? I think so. Actually, of all of the albums I've shown off so far, this is the first one that I think has just a few things that are a little weaker than some of the other material on the album. Overall, though, this is an incredibly great album in my opinion. It's absolutely one of my favorite albums, really. I love this. But admittedly, there are a few things on here that could maybe be trimmed down or eliminated. I'm not going to say it's 105 minutes of pure gold. It's not. It's maybe 85 minutes of pure gold, right? Or 90. I don't know. I don't know the exact ratio. It's pretty high. Most of it is incredibly great, but there is a little bit on there that, you know, could be eliminated or trimmed down. Now, why did I show all of those different albums? Mostly to illustrate a point, because they're all pretty different lengths, right? And they're all, in my opinion, really good examples of albums that are of that length. Now, obviously, most artists don't pull off double albums very well. In fact, this artist springs to mind. Their Use Your Illusion albums could have been one album instead of two. They could have cut about half the Use Your Illusion albums, but I digress. So that's an example of, in my opinion, a failed double album if only about half of it is good. Whereas I think, obviously, this is the ultimate example of success of a double album. So basically, what's the point here? I'm not sure. I know I was all over the place with album lengths and all that, but this really just based on the fact that I don't think there is one ideal album length. I mean, probably the most common ideal album length probably is the 35 to 45 minute one with 8 to 10 songs. That probably is the most common, because a lot of modern albums that stretch on for about an hour or so, because that's what just seems, a lot of them seem to run for. A lot of them probably could be trimmed down some, probably about 15 minutes or so. So I would say most commonly the ideal album length is probably about 45 minutes, but it's not really a universal constant. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think. As always, if you like this, thumbs up. If you hate me, thumbs down. Share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.